Hey there, my name is Joe Summers. I'm the main admin for Team Gold, and I'm one of the people who helped to put together our alumni strategy. A little bit more about me: I'm on staff with Crew in the campus ministry, and I've been serving in fund development for about 10 years now. Most of that time, I've been working with local teams, I've been coaching them in planning events like vision dinners, and just helping them with their overall development strategy. So I'm really glad to hear that you are starting to think about establishing an alumni strategy. As I've talked with all of those team leaders and field staff over the years, I've tried to make a habit of asking them what they need from my team and the things that we can provide for them as we work together. New resources, new trainings, new ideas, stuff like that. And by far the number one response has been some form of wanting to engage their alumni and ask them to give back to the movement after they've graduated or otherwise left the scope of their movement. We've based much of this training on feedback from teams around the US who have had success in creating an alumni network. Some of those stories come from individual teams. Other insights have come from entire strategies. The Epic movement, for instance, has seen some great success in fund development through alumni networks. The challenge with creating a training like this is that no two teams are the same, and that means that what works for one team won't work for another. An alumni strategy at, say, Virginia Tech, a movement with over 1,000 recent alumni and a larger staff team, that wouldn't and shouldn't translate one-to-one to a small community college with only a handful of alumni and a staff team of part-time staff or volunteers. So yeah, essentially we went to those teams that have been successful, we learned everything we could from them, and we translated it into this training that can help any team no matter their circumstance. Let's talk a little bit about the official Team Gold training for creating an alumni strategy. The first thing that I want to do is just dispel some potential misconceptions about what an alumni network should be, and then give some vision for what it will look like. So misconception number one: an alumni network is an MPD list for our team. Of course, you wouldn't be here now if you didn't see the financial potential of an alumni network. And honestly, as a development website, Team Gold wouldn't have created this training if we didn't see that same potential. But I think that there's a lot of TLs that I've talked with, and it seems like their vision of an alumni network is basically a list of people who can give monthly and just be there for special asks. I want to lift your eyes up a little bit just to a larger vision than that. The Alumni Network is more than just a list. It's a community that you cultivate over time, both online and in person, and it allows your alumni to continue their involvement in your ministry. And that points out the other big difference. On MPD lists, it's mostly people who exist outside of the ministry, right? You kind of connect with them for the first time and you bring them in. In contrast, an alumni network is people who are already connected. And what you're doing isn't introducing them for the first time to your ministry. You're trying to keep them connected to your ministry. Okay, misconception number two: an alumni network is a get-rich-quick scheme. Okay, I know that no team leader is actually thinking these words about an alumni network, or at least I hope that they're not. But as I have heard TLs ask for this training, I can hear sort of behind their words that part of their motivation is that they're looking for this silver bullet that's going to solve their fund development woes. They're doing the math and they're going, if I can just get 50 people to start giving, this amount monthly, maybe 100 people to give a smaller amount, we'd pretty much have everything that we need. And there's good news and bad news in that way of thinking. The good news is that those TLs are right. The goal is to grow a steady base of giving and financial support that you can depend on year after year. The not so good news is that their vision won't be realized this year, or probably even next year. It's not a quick fix. And if you don't do the work leading up to establishing that network and then you continue to work after you've established, it's really not sustainable and it'll just fizzle out pretty quickly. The truth is that an alumni network is more of a long-term solution than short-term. I challenge you to cast aside any hope of having $20,000 in your account next year from an alumni and embrace a vision of the future. Think about 10 years from now. Maybe the alumni strategy has only provided a few $1,000s every year, but 10 years from now, those numbers add up. And 10 years from now, there will probably be a new team leader and a whole new team of staff. The work you're putting in now is going to benefit those new staff members so that they can inherit a ministry with systems that are set up for success. So an alumni strategy, yes, part of the goal is to provide funding, but it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's going to take a lot of work over time, and it's probably a multi-year process. And that sort of segues to misconception number 3. An alumni network can replace my vision dinner or other event. Now, this is a big one. Many times, I think that a team is hoping that developing an alumni network will provide them enough funding year after year that they're no longer going to need to plan a vision dinner or do major partner work or whatever else they have been doing to raise money year after year. I could talk about this one for an hour, but I'm going to spare you that hour, and I'll keep it brief. Couple points. First, this line of thinking views our current partners as simply, like a cash cow. It kind of reduces them to that. In reality, we need to remember that the local partners who aren't alumni that are investing in our movement have much more to offer than their bank accounts. They can pray for your movement, volunteer, and much more. They can't just be tossed aside. So we would never want to stop doing those other development efforts and kind of deprive them of the opportunity to be involved in our movement. The second thing I'd mention is that an alumni strategy that's really humming along doesn't replace those things, it complements them. Eventually, you're going to be inviting local alumni to your vision dinner. They'll be the table hosts at your vision dinner. They'll be the people who are in the seats. You'll be searching through your alumni list to find someone to lead a seminar or to disciple students. You'll be meeting up with past alumni and asking them for major gifts. They will become those people who are vital to your ministry. So like I said, I could spend a lot of time talking about this one, but I'm going to spare you guys and move on to our last misconception. Misconception number 4 is that an alumni network is a new ministry for my team. Now, what exactly do I mean when I say that? Well, it's true that at first launching an alumni strategy is a lot of work. It's also true that an alumni network could potentially become something that's way bigger than just development, right? I mean, Cru down the road could have a national alumni network where students graduate from college and then Cru continues the relationship with them and gets them plugged in with Family Life or Cru City or other ministries. But with Team Gold and this training specifically, we're just setting the scope much smaller, okay? For now, all you're doing is creating a siloed strategy for your team. Although, we could benefit from that big unified strategy across the ministry and organization, that is a mountain that we are going to climb another day, okay? So this is not like you're starting a Bridges movement or a high school movement. It's not like this new ministry that you're starting in your area. You're not going to be devoting staff just to work on alumni things full time. This is just another tool in your development tool belt. It's nestled alongside other tools like a vision dinner, major partner work, partner communication, updates, all of that stuff. So those are the 4 big misconceptions that we wanted to dispel right from the start. I hope that this has given you a bit of a better picture of what we mean when we talk about establishing an alumni strategy and what we don't mean. I'm going to point you back towards Team Gold, where you can learn more about the vision for this strategy and really how you can get started with planning it. Thanks so much.